Hey there, fellow learners. Ever find yourself wishing you could, teleport inside a textbook?
Hmm. Interesting thought.
Well, today, we're kind of doing just that. We're diving into an Indian textbook all about maps.
Oh, cool. A chance to see how these, basic concepts we use all the time, how another culture teaches them.
Exactly. Global perspective, right?
Yeah.
So we're not just learning about maps, but how learning itself works differently around the world.
I like it. A journey for both geography and education, huh?
Totally. Okay, so picture this. Our textbook drops us right in Delhi, India. Big celebration going on Republic Day.
Lots of people, I bet.
Yeah, and imagine a group of school kids. They've got their maps, trying to find their way to the parade at India Gate.
Ah, using landmarks, even on a map, makes sense.
Right, like even without a map, we do that, right? Think about your own city. What pops into your head when you need directions?
Oh, totally. It's
Yep.
like our brains are hardwired for landmarks.
And this map, it smartly connects those real-world landmarks, like you said.
Right.
Okay, so we see India Gate, that big arch,
Right.
And then there's Rashtrapati Bhavan, that's like the president's house, all laid out one to the other.
And that's where scale comes in, right?
Yeah.
Because this map, it says the distance from India Gate to, let me see, Vijay Chowk is 2 kilometers.
But on the map, it's tiny.
Exactly. Can't fit all of Delhi on one page. But getting that scale idea, super important.
Oh, for sure.
Like whether it's a city map or even looking at data for a whole country, messing up the scale, that's trouble.
Like, do you think how often do we misjudge distances in real life just because we don't think about scale?
All the time, probably. We've all been there. Oh, that's not far. Famous last words, right?
Totally. Okay, so scale is key.
Yeah.
But this textbook, it doesn't stop there. Now we've got another map showing the parade route from that Vijay Chowk to the Red Fort.
Okay, getting more complex.
Yeah. And now it's about estimating distances. So these kids, they're figuring out the longest road on the route. And using the scale on this map, it's 1 centimeter is 1 kilometer. They got to calculate the whole parade distance.
Sounds like a fun challenge.
It is.
Yeah.
Turns out it's about 8 kilometers. Good walk for those kids. But I love how it takes map skills and makes them, real life useful.
Totally. Yeah.
We estimate distances constantly, right?
Mm.
Planning a trip, figuring how long a project will take, even just walking to get coffee.
Absolutely. Spatial reasoning, it's everywhere, even when we don't realize it.
So we've got landmarks, we've got scale, but this textbook, it's taking us even deeper into the map world.
Oh, it's not done with us yet?
Not even close.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, the shapes and angles. Turns out they're key too. This time we're zooming in on the map, right into the central hexagon area in Delhi.
Wait, it's literally shaped like a hexagon.
Yep. And I love that because it's like sneaking in geometry without even trying.
Totally. Makes it way more interesting than just, textbook diagrams.
Right. And it's not just shapes. They use this example of 2 roads intersecting and they make a right angle.
Okay, so that might seem simple.
But when you're navigating,
Huge you help.
oh, for sure.
Yeah.
If you know which way is north and all, and then you see a road at a weird angle on your map.
You can kind of picture where you'll end up even before getting there.
Exactly. Okay, ready for something even wilder? Map projections.
Oh, sounds
A
complicated.
little bit. Remember how we talked about scale, how you got to shrink the world down to fit it on a page?
Right, like physically impossible otherwise.
Exactly. So map projections, they take that to a whole other level.
Okay, I'm lost. What are map projections?
Imagine you're trying to flatten out an orange peel.
You'd rip it.
Exactly. You can't do it perfectly. Earth is a sphere, but maps, they're flat.
Right, makes sense.
So cartographers, the map makers, they have to find ways to project that round surface onto a flat one.
So it's like choosing how to peel the earth to make the flat map work.
You got it. But depending on how they peel it, some parts of the world, they get stretched out or squished on the map.
So it's not always accurate.
Well, accurate in a way, but it can be misleading. Like there's this famous one, the Mercator projection, makes Greenland look huge EE.
Really? I always thought Greenland was pretty big.
It's not tiny, but on that map, it looks as big as South America, which is way, way bigger in reality.
Wow. See, you'd never know unless someone told you.
And that's the thing, right? These map choices, they seem technical, but they actually change how we see the world.
Like that Mercator one, you said it was good for navigation.
Yeah, it was made for sailors way back when, still used today sometimes.
So it's good for that, but bad for understanding the real size of things.
Exactly. It's like a trade-off.
Huh. So even a simple map, it's got all these hidden decisions behind it.
Totally. And that's what makes this textbook so cool. It's not just teaching kids where things are, but how maps can be tricky.
Makes you think twice next time you open Google Maps or something.
Right. So we've done landmarks, scale, shapes, even these map projections. Anything else this textbook has up its sleeve?
You kidding? We've barely scratched the surface. Remember that activity we talked about before, where the kids enlarge and reduce images on grids?
Yeah, it's kind of basic.
Well, that ties directly into map projections and how they distort area.
Wait, really? How so?
Think about it. When you enlarge or shrink something on a grid, some parts get more stretched than others, right?
Yeah, to make it fit.
Exactly. Map projections, same idea, just on a global scale.
Yeah.
Different projections stretch the Earth's surface in different ways, just like those grids.
Okay, now I see the connection. It's like this textbook is sneaking in these big, complex ideas, but making them fun.
Exactly. It's like a puzzle, right? You learn as you go.
Way more engaging than just memorizing places on a map.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of places, though, this textbook, it also dives into relative location and direction. Using another map this time, it's all about different states in India.
Okay, so thinking about where things are in relation to each other.
Right. They use this example of a dance team traveling from Karnataka, that's in southern India, all the way to Delhi for the Republic Day parade.
Long trip.
Tell me about it. But they use that to talk about direction. Like, the team had to travel north to reach Delhi. It's like using the map to tell a story.
Way more memorable than just pointing at a spot on the map and saying, that's Karnataka.
Exactly. And then they challenge the kids to find a state surrounded by 4 others.
Which is?
Madhya Pradesh, of course.
You knew that.
Had to brush up on my Indian geography a bit for this deep dive. But see, one map, so many teaching moments.
It shows you how versatile maps are as a learning tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Geography, geometry, you name it. Maps can handle it. They even touch on politics a bit, with those lines on maps that show you the boundaries between states and countries.
Oh, right, like borders and stuff.
Exactly. They point out that those lines are super important on a map, obviously. But in reality...
They're not really there.
Precisely. It's just a way for us to make sense of the world, to divide it up.
Which is important, but it's good to remember it's not like there's a giant wall or something.
Exactly. Those lines, they're human decisions, not natural features.
That's a good point. It's like we see those lines so often we forget someone put them there.
And that leads us to another big idea, the choices that cartographers make. What symbols to use, what colors, what projection. All those decisions shape how we see the world represented on that map.
It's like they had this secret language.
And once you start to understand it...
the map comes alive. You see things you never noticed before.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about this Indian textbook. It's not just about teaching kids how to read a map, but why they should care.
It's about thinking critically, right?
Absolutely. It's about understanding that maps, they're powerful tools, but they're not neutral. There are always choices behind them.
So like next time I open Google Maps to find a coffee shop.
Think about those choices. The colors they use, the way they zoomed in or out, even the little icons they chose for different places.
All those things can subtly influence what I notice, what I think, even how I feel about a place.
Exactly. It's about being a more aware map reader, a more critical thinker,
It's like this textbook is giving us a crash course in map literacy. And the best part, you don't have to travel to India to get it. It's kind of like this textbook is saying, hey, don't just blindly follow the map. Think about it.
Right. Question it. Like, who made this and what were they trying to show?
Exactly. Which is so important because, honestly, maps are everywhere, not just in classrooms,
Oh, absolutely. We're surrounded by them online, in presentations, even just like those graphics they show on the news.
And we often just absorb that information without a second thought.
Totally. But this textbook, even though it's for kids, it's a good reminder for all of us to level up our map skills.
Become map experts.
Well, at least more aware, be critical map readers.
Yeah.
Question those choices, the projections, the symbols, the colors, all of it. Because they all add up. They shape how we see the world.
So it's like by understanding maps better, we understand ourselves and our world better too.
Exactly. It's all connected.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive. Who knew we could talk about maps for so long?
You know, right? But it's a testament to how fascinating they are.
Totally. And it just goes to show you can learn something new from the most unexpected places.
Absolutely. This little Indian textbook, it's given us a whole new perspective on something we thought we knew.
Exactly. So to our listeners, next time you open up a map, remember, it's not just lines on paper. It's a whole world of choices and interpretations and even hidden messages.
Love that.
So be curious, ask questions, and don't be afraid to get a little lost along the way. Thanks for joining us on this cartographic adventure.